Welcome, everyone. We will have our Jordan student, Elaine, lead us in the pledge.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We welcome those who are here for purposes of addressing the board at the proper time and in the order of their request. For those who have not already submitted a request, we have provided forms in the back of the room and also have additional copies here in the front at the Assistant Secretary's position. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please fill out a form indicating your name and the agenda item you wish to address. You may also make a request to give testimony on item not listed on for discussion today. However, full discussion on any items not listed on the agenda will have to be delayed until such time as the item can be publicly posted in advance as a regular agenda item. If you wish to ask questions, please address them to the chair and not to individual members of the board or to the staff. The board has been meeting in closed session regarding matters listed on today's closed session agenda and wishes to report that no reportable actions were taken. This is the time set aside for public hearings regarding the following. We'll do the first one, local control and accountability plan. Let's see, do we have Robert to speak to this first? There he is.
Members of the board, executive staff, and members of the community. It's my pleasure to provide you with this update on our local control and accountability plan, the third in our monthly update since April, and the culmination of tremendous amount of work with stakeholders throughout the entire school year, a testament to the hard work of our parents, our students, our community members, our teachers, administrators, and everyone who's been involved in this process. First, I'd just like to remind everyone that all materials related to our LCAP, including the entire LCAP itself, which is in excess of over 180 pages, is available on lbschools.net. If you log into our district website, you can click on local control, and it will take you to our local control and accountability plan page, which you'll find at the very top contains links to the full draft of the LCAP, incorporating all of the changes that we've made since the first time that we issued our draft to the public on April 15 and on May 15, leading up to this public hearing, as well as the budget overview, which is a new requirement that the state has for all local educational agencies to complete and submit to the public as well. They're available in English, Spanish, and Khmer. And all of the other documents that we've collected throughout the course of the year, including materials from our community forums, our meeting agendas for our district community advisory committee, our district English learner advisory committee, our local control and accountability plan advisory committee, etc. They're available on a few other links that are available on this page. If any member of the public wishes to have an actual hard copy of this, they can contact our office at Equity, Access, and College and Career Readiness, and we're happy to accommodate the request. One note on this draft, it's been submitted to the Los Angeles County Office of Education in advance of the official submission. This gives the county an opportunity to review the draft and give us feedback before the board actually votes on it as well, so that it gives another lens, another perspective on our draft. This will be the second time that they've already read a draft of our LCAP, which is rather unique for a district of our size to complete at such an early stage. In fact, this morning I spoke with LACO, who's conducting this pre-review, and they applauded the district and the stakeholders of our community for the details that's been provided in this draft. One of the reviewers said that he was truly inspired by this, specifically in reference to the district's work regarding our Pacific Islander community and the development of the Pacific Islander Education Voyage Committee this school year. Last time we were together, we went over parent recommendations and all of the votes that were cast to help the district prioritize these 46 recommendations, which span 8 different sections, from extracurricular activities to student supports to parent supports to intervention programs, personnel, summer opportunities, college and career readiness, teacher supports. They are contained in these 5 slides. Last time we were together, all of the stakeholder groups, but for the Coalition to Involve African American Parents, had participated in the process. Since then, CAP has also been able to participate, and now all of their recommendations are also incorporated into this document, which is available for the public to review in the back in multiple languages, and which the board has here. Like I mentioned, it spans 5 slides, so you can see all of the tallies throughout the 5 slides. I won't go over them in any great depth since we discussed it last time, but I will give you a summary now of the top priorities as the tallies have been put together. Overall, there were 1,107 votes put forward to try to help us prioritize, and the top 5 are contained in this table. These 5 are the same top 5 that were highlighted in mid-May. The only difference is that the second and the third recommendation, the real-life econ and the social emotional development programs, in mid-May, number 27, which is the social emotional development programs, that was the second ranked recommendation. Since then, the real-life economics recommendation was able to garner additional support and was able to tie the social emotional development programs. But basically, the same 5 have emerged throughout this whole process as the areas of focus for stakeholders. You'll notice that the recommendation numbers are provided. The category that they fall under is also provided so that it can aid our stakeholders in reading this document alongside other materials that we've put out in public before. We've also listed the LCAP goal number. So we have 7 LCAP goals. The goal numbers for these particular recommendations have been aligned and embedded with those LCAP goals. And you'll notice that 3 of these 5 recommendations fall under goal number 6, which relates to student engagement. The student engagement goal includes metrics related to attendance, chronic absenteeism, suspension rate, graduation rate, dropout rate. So those issues that reflect how much our students are being engaged in their educational experience, those tended to garner a lot of interest. Goal number 5 relates to college and career readiness, and goal number 7 relates to school culture and climate, as well as social emotional learning. So you can kind of get a sense of the main areas of interest for stakeholders throughout this process. You can see also the votes listed after the column that describes the 5 recommendations. Note that because there were over 1,100 votes cast, 82 votes represents roughly 7%. Of all of those possible votes. So you can get a good sense that there was a pretty wide distribution of interest, but nonetheless, these are the ones that generated a lot of discussion during committee meetings and also reflected the votes that were tallied. The last column you'll see is sort of an estimated cost, and what we wanted to highlight here is it really depends on the direction that the board asks the school district to pursue, because we can make these programs, since there's a wide range of latitude provided by the recommendation, We can make them as ambitious as we want them to be, or we can scale them so that they could be piloted, or anywhere in between. So for example, when we look at after-school enrichment programs, such as foreign language, coding, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, those can vary pretty widely, depending on who delivers the program, depending on how frequently we want the programs to be, how ambitious the goals of the program are, and also who might serve as a provider or a vendor that could be associated with that program. The same goes with social emotional development and programs, which is recommendation number 3. That can vary widely. In many respects, some of our schools are already doing that. So if it were merely embedded within a program that were already taking place after school or on a Saturday or during intersession, then the costs can be limited. But if you want the district to develop a full-on new type of program associated with that theme, then it can also be a little bit more wide-ranging and hence more expensive. The real-life economics one is to be determined, in part because it could be something that we just embed in our linked learning and pathway work already. Or again, if it's something that we want to develop into a full-on program that's independent of some of that work, then it can also be arranged, but the cost would increase. The areas where personnel are involved, there's a little bit more concreteness around that. So for school psychologists, for example, we're talking about $150,000 per position. And the costs there can quickly increase depending on how many full-time employees are hired to address that particular need. The same with the trade school pathway, which if we're talking about a teaching position at the secondary level, we're talking about $140,000 per position. So again, it's one of these issues where if part of the district's constraint is having only $800,000 or so of additional revenues for us to discuss and consider and for the board to vote on, then it can vary widely depending on the direction that the board asks the district to pursue. On that note, this presentation is concluded. I'm happy to address any questions that you might have, but I again want to thank all of our stakeholders for participating in this process. It's been a fantastic experience for us as a district overall, for so many different individuals to come together and provide us with some really good feedback and insights to be delivered to the Board of Education.
Thank you. Yes.
Robert, as we're looking at some of these cost items, such as the trade school pathways, what impact would the Perkins Fund have on something like this? Could we use that money in this particular area?
The Perkins funds are already allocated to sites, so they do support this initiative already. So it's not a lot of money, it's about $1 million, but they're allocated at all the high schools that qualify for those resources.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, if we can look at the pots of money that can plug into some of these areas and how we can reconfigure that and make some of that apply to some of these areas.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you have Perkins, you have another program called CTIG, which supports basically pays for about 14 of our career tech teachers. So if you were going to redirect money, for example, in the Perkins, you'd have to give schools enough time to know that they would not be able to have money for X, they would go to Y. So, but we can bring that to you.
Yeah. Normally I would go straight to the superintendent, but I'm afraid to go in that route.
No, but I think it's a great question because the LCAP is a 3-year plan, so that's why there's only about $1 million of additional money that's coming in to look at. But this is a living document, so whatever the board votes on in the future will be revisited. And for example, at a board workshop, we could go into deep discussion on all the different funds that fund our current CTE programs
Right.
now, and maybe some things could be redirected or not.
Right. Thank you very much.
Any further discussion?
Yes, Dr. Williams, I believe we're going to get a presentation on how well we're doing in the budget, so that may sway folks to think about
Juan, we've had those before, but they
resources.
haven't done any good, I tell you.
Thank you, Mr. Tagorda, for all the work that you and our district staff have put into compiling the data. I also want to thank all the parents and community stakeholders that came out to be a part of this process. And I think I may have asked this the last time you presented, Robert. So if we have 1,107 votes, what does that translate into for actual people? I believe you said each one got 5 stickers or 5 votes?
Yes.
So between
right.
250 and 300
Yeah,
stakeholders
exactly.
coming out?
Exactly.
Which again is impressive, but it causes me at least to rethink our affirmation of getting more parents out, right? Increasing our community engagement, our parent engagement, given that we have 72,000 students in our district. I think for those folks that participated, this is really good evidence that your participation counts, right? And that your votes get reflected in recommendations. So to anyone that's out there, anyone that's listening, anyone that's watching, it is important for us to reinvigorate our community engagement efforts, but particularly because these are strategies and recommendations that go right to the heart of equity issues, right to the heart of our opportunity and achievement gaps, right to the heart of our community engagement efforts. So to me, I have a couple thoughts on the data. One is our ability to maximize the input and feedback and voices that are participating so that we uphold and reinvigorate our processes to make sure that folks, when they show up, they feel vested that, hey, my voice counts, right? It's reflected here. We get to decide on it. The second aspect of it that stands out for me is around the recommendations themselves. So I appreciate the way they were presented here, Robert. So at the end of the day for me is the idea that sound mind, sound body then allow for us to think about pathways and allow for us to think about the other 3 areas here, real life economics, after school enrichment programs. At the end of the day, if we don't focus on the social and emotional well-being of our students at the core, and that could be our work in relationship-centered schools, our work around restorative practices, our work around student engagement, right, then I think we're undermining ourselves into then thinking that enrichment programs after the fact and or pathway work isn't at the core, founded on students showing up to school in the right state of mind, healthy with a nutritious diet, so that then all the additional work complements that. So I would interpret these as building off of each other and encourage, again, our community stakeholders to continue engaging, participating, showing up to public comment, engaging with their board themselves so that we can actually provide context to these recommendations as well. So thanks to everyone that participated.
Yes,
in this.
thank you.
Okay. We do have a couple of speakers who would like to. Oh, okay. That's their preference?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll declare this hearing closed and move to the next item on for our public hearing, and that's adoption of the budget for fiscal year 2019-2020. We'll start with a presentation on that.
Good evening. I'm very happy to talk about the 1920 budget, and I'm especially happy to be presenting and to introduce and to be presenting with Renee Arcus, our Executive Director for Fiscal Services. She and her staff have done an amazing job of putting this budget together, and I'm very happy to be presenting with her. The budget is actually development process, and the financial reporting process is actually a 2-year process. Well, it's officially a 2-year process that begins when the governor presents his proposal to the state legislature in January, and then that proposal is revised in May. And in the midst of that, we have to adopt our budget, and by June 15th, the state legislature has to adopt its budget, and then we revise the budget within 45 days. So in the end of July or beginning of August timeframe is when we would amend the budget. And then we go into the execution of really monitoring the execution of the budget through our first interim, our second interim. We have estimated actuals, and then we close the books with our unaudited actuals, and then our books and our records are audited. So it's really officially a 2-year planning and reporting process. However, we really have been planning for 1920 for a very long time. We've been projecting with the best information that we've had for a very long time. And so now, since we're upon 1920, everything is really much more in clear focus, and we can talk about especially the May revise. California is still really experiencing a very strong economy, and Governor Newsom is in a very enviable position of being able to propose a budget in this type of economy. And he's really taken the mantra of Governor Brown is really preparing for a downturn or a slowing down of the economy. So building on the reserves. So I think the reserve will proposing to be about $16.6 billion, as well as trying to alleviate some of the long-term liabilities that the state and the school districts face, such as the CalPERS and CalSTRS liabilities. So there is a proposal that would provide some money to those systems that would alleviate some of the increases that we will be experiencing in the budget. There's also a continued commitment to the local control funding formula, which was established about 6 years ago, which is a completely new funding model for California schools, in which there is a base grant provided to every school, to all school districts, and then there was additional money provided in terms of the supplemental and concentration grant based on the number of unduplicated, which means economically disadvantaged or English language learner foster youth, et cetera. So, but Governor Newsom has proposed to maintain that funding formula, which is good for us, and has provided the statutory COLA for that program. And one proposal that's really created a lot of discussion is an approximately 20% increase to special education funding, about $700 million proposed to special education. Now, no one disagrees that special education needs more funding. However, the way it's distributed is quite controversial. He's proposed that it's provided to districts in the form of concentration grants. So school districts that have a high unduplicated count, or school districts with a high numbers of students with exceptional needs would benefit from these concentration grants. So we'll find out within the next few days what type of funding formula they intend to use for this. But there's seems to be just summary support for increased funding to special education. So now as we look to our own budget, and this is our total operating revenue. So these are our major operating funds. So it's the general fund, unrestricted, and restricted, which comprise the lion's share of our operating budget, as well as our child development budget, our adult education budget, and our cafeteria fund. So conspicuously missing here is our Head Start money, which would be part of the child development budget. So we are anxiously awaiting a funding determination for that grant, and the moment we hear if we get that grant, we will include it in the budget right away. But as you can see, most of the action is in the general fund. And as we look to our general fund revenues, the local control funding formula is most of our funding, which is on the unrestricted side. Federal funding comprises about 6%, so that would include our Title I, Title II, Title III programs, other state revenues, which would include like our special education entitlement, and some local revenues. But most of it is based on our local control funding formula, our unrestricted dollars. And we have not included this additional special education revenue that the governor has proposed, because we just don't know what our share of it may be. And our unrestricted dollars are really driven, let me start again. This is our LCFF throughout a number of years, and you can see from the beginning, when LCFF was instituted, we got some sharp increases during the implementation of LCFF. But over time, the revenue is going to start to flatten out because it's only going to be based on COLA. So some sharp increases in the prior years, and really a flattening out of revenues going forward. And our LCFF funding is really based on enrollment. So we have been experiencing a steady march downward, approximately 2% enrollment decline annually, and we don't really foresee an end to this enrollment decline. So we have to accommodate for that in our budget. And just practically speaking, we like to look at it as their declining enrollment partially offsets the COLA that we receive. So, for example, in 2018-19, 3.7% COLA, 2.11 declining enrollment is approximately 1.6% increase to revenues. So it really offsets any statutory COLA or any super COLA that we would be receiving. So that's how we like to look at it, not exactly dollar for dollar, but in the ballpark. And over the previous years, we've received a lot of one-time funding. So when revenue has been higher than anticipated at the state level, they like to provide us one-time funding. So we received almost $85 million over the course of the years. But those one-time fundings are not projected to continue. And so we have not included any going forward. And I must say, because of the one-time funding we've received, that's the part of the reason why our ending balances are so high, because we have not spent it.
Dr. Takahashi?
Yeah.
Just for clarification, so COLA refers to cost of living
Cost
adjustment,
of living
right?
adjustments, so to enable school districts to cope with and deal with inflationary cost increases, so that's cost of living. Thank you. And this is just to remind everybody of just the economic cycle, that the economy goes in cycles. So it expands, reaches a peak, and then it contracts. Now, California has been experiencing an expansion of its economy for over a decade, probably one of the longest on record. And so economists have been predicting a slowdown. Don't know exactly when a recession may hit or if it may hit, but definitely projecting a slowdown of the economy. Now, we've seen a lot of economic indicators, such as you may have seen the jobs report, the federal jobs report that came out last week. And there's just a number of indicators that say that the California economy is slowing down. And so reason why the governor and school districts are really bracing for a contraction of revenues going forward. So I'm going to hand it off to Renee, who will talk about the expense side of the budget.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I'm here to talk about the expense side of our 1920 budget, and we're starting with a slide that talks about our operating funds. Yumi went over the revenues for general fund, adult ed, CDC budget, as well as Fund 13. And so this slide represents the operating of all of our funds. As you can see, 83% of our operating funds are driven by salaries and benefits. And this representation is about $983.2 million for those funds. 95% of those operating funds are in the general fund. And so this slide represents the general fund expenses. Our general fund is made up of restricted programs like Title I, special ed, as we've talked about before, as well as unrestricted funds, which is mainly driven by our LCFF revenue. Salaries and benefits here are also about 83% of the total cost. And in this budget that we're representing today, we have the certificated raises as well as the non-rep certificated and classified raises. But for 1920, we don't represent CSCA, as that negotiation is not concluded yet. One other thing to note about this budget is, as you can see, employee benefits are about 50% of the cost of the classified salaries and certificated salaries, which means for about every dollar that we pay in salaries, we pay 50 cents in benefits, including retirement and health and welfare. Books, supplies, other outgo are affected by increases such as utilities, any contract pricing, or any time that we may have a one-time purchase of textbooks or something else in our funds.
Quick question. I noticed you mentioned utilities, but with all of the technology we've been installing, energy-related technology, has that had an impact on our cost, our utility cost, to bring those costs down?
So yes and no. Anything we do to be energy conscious is affecting our budget by bringing down those costs. But as we add HVAC and other different things with our facilities projects, those are often impacted by those decreases. City of Long Beach, for example, had a large increase just on gas costs this year, if you noticed on some of your bills. So anytime that they have an influx, we're affected by that as well.
But would our costs be higher without making
Our costs
those?
would definitely be higher without.
Okay.
So this graph represents general fund expenses over time, and the reflection is obviously a general pattern of increase. The increases are often notated by, we've had about 20% or so of raises over these years that are represented on this slide. We also have increased retirement and health and welfare costs included here. We will, from time to time, we'll have an artificially high increase due to textbook adoptions, results of collective bargaining, and one-time funding sources that we may use throughout the year. This pattern of expenses is offset by any declines, such as retirements or efforts that we make when we lose enrollment to costs associated with that. So one of the greatest areas that I think we talk about often is the increased cost of our retirement costs. The CalSTRS and CalPERS contributions are consistently increasing. Just in 18-19 alone, we had collectively between the two of them a 4.3% increase. We have planned in 1920 for about a 3.09% increase between the two benefits, and the pattern continues. As you can see, all the way out to 24-25, we're planning for the increased cost of these retirement costs. This slide is kind of telling in regards to the STRS and PERS contributions. In 13-14, we're about $36.5 million in contributions for these. And in 22-23, we are reflecting approximately $95.9 million in expenses for these costs. It's about a triple over the time. Keep in mind, the one thing that it's in here is about 20% of salary increases, so that's part of the increased cost as well, but a majority of this cost is due to the change in rates.
I think it's interesting to look at that, and then you go back to page 6, which has the increase in revenue from the state, and compare that to the increase in the STRS and PERS.
And there's no compare.
requirements. Correct. So it's one of those things that helps us keep in context. Oh, we keep getting more money, but then this bill gets higher and higher as well. So thank you for putting both of those in there.
Yes, thank you.
So as we move to just looking at our bottom line, which is our unrestricted ending balance, and which is what we consider our rainy day fund. So it really provides some cushion in the event of any unforeseen circumstances, or in the event of revenue reductions, let's say from the state due to a recession. And it really demonstrates the relationship between revenues and expenses as it goes up or down. If we look at our revenues versus total outgo, we'll see in 18-19 and in projecting in 19-20 that our revenues will be above our expenses or our total outgo. But in 2021 and beyond, it flips. And so that demonstrates a deficit pattern, a deficit spending pattern, albeit not too large. But it does demonstrate some deficit spending in the out years. And that translates directly to our unrestricted ending balance. So anytime revenue exceeds expenses, your ending balance is going to go up. And so in 18-19, we are projecting to have a $216.3 million ending balance, which is equivalent to 23.5% ending balance, moving upwards to 226.4 at a 24.2% ending balance. So very healthy ending balances, but demonstrating a deficit spending pattern in the out years. But very good, and I think this is just a testament to the fact that the district has not spent all the revenue that it has taken in over a number of years, built up some ending balances and really built some budget resiliency into its own budget. So as I said before, we will come back in a number of days when the state budget is actually adopted with our 45-day budget revision. So that concludes the budget presentation.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to this public hearing item? No. Then I declare this hearing closed. No? Oh, I'm sorry.
Were you going somewhere else?
On to the next item.
Hold on. So, thank you, Dr. Takahashi, for the budget overview. So, I'm just going to ask the superintendent to indulge me here as we roll forward with a possible scenario here 5 years down the line. So, given that approximately 80% of our $1 billion budget is going to salaries and benefits, according to the graphs that you showed us, more or less, right? Slightly over 80%. And given that in the last 14 years we've lost 20,000 students, and that's not going to change anytime soon, considering the cost of living adjustment, and considering that we have very specific funding that comes with the kinds of students that we're losing, namely our highest needs students, whether they're socioeconomically disadvantaged and or special education students, and that those come from very specific funding sources. Title I is federal, and then our LCFF is the state. Can we have a conversation a little bit about the potentially dark times ahead of us and still being able to uphold our mission around all students and particularly our highest needs students with a very uncertain future for funding for public education and the importance of sort of our fiscal strategy, taking that into account. And again, 3 factors that I want to highlight is a big bulk of this goes to salaries and benefits. Second is we're losing students at 2 to 3%, which again, projection here is that we'll be in the 66,000 range by 2023 and 24. And that our funding for our highest needs students is uncertain at best.
Sure. Before I do that, I just also want to thank Yumi and the team, the business department team. We have the envy of all districts around, to be honest with you. If I will guarantee you right now, we would all be millionaires if we could sell this ending balance to other people, because the big urbans up and down the state are not in the same picture as we are. And that's because of people working, teamwork, and to address your questions. So what we do in this district, we adhere to staffing bulletins, which means it's how we staff schools, both on the classified and certificate side. So for example, we actually abolished about 55 teaching positions for next year because of decline in enrollment. That's something we do every single year. We look at both all classified positions in schools, all certificated positions in schools. Having said that, we're always going to be behind it a little bit, because in order to really catch up with, so you don't have deficit spending, you'd have to double that, because you'd have to take care of what you had this year plus what you're going to do for the next year. We also, every fall, look at classes where schools may be under-enrolled, and we reduce those classrooms at that time. This year, we really didn't have to do that. We were able to not move a lot of teachers around, but we've moved as many as 20 teachers in the fall from school A to school B where we needed to. In some cases where we didn't have places to move them, we may fund them under a restricted program where we have some money. One of the practices that we learned from the Great Recession was not to spend all of our money, okay? So we have a rule that's been in place since 2012 that we don't spend more than 80% of new money coming in. So we're able to build that budget. So we look at about $1 million of additional LCFF. Our recommendation to the board would spend $800,000. Having said that, if you recall, in the fall, we presented to you that we would probably end the year with $216 million. That's before we negotiated with our partners, our labor partners. And so now we've negotiated with our teachers. You've approved those raises, to approve the raises for our non-rep, and we're ending the year with $260 million. It's because of the hard work of Yumi, her team, everyone around here, and all the school sites. We literally look at every penny every single day to see where we can save money and to maximize those spending dollars. It is a very serious concern about declining enrollment, but I'll be honest with you, it doesn't keep me up at night because of the team and because we project 5-year budgets. However, what we don't have control over is how deep and how hard is that next slowdown or that recession. So, for example, we may come back to you and let's say we lose 10% of our revenue. We may say we need to slow down these expenses. So it could be postponing the rollout of additional Chromebooks, textbooks, whatever it happens to be, so that we honor everything that we're telling our school sites. So I can't thank everybody here and at the sites, our labor partners who are great with us, because we really are all on the same team on this one, to looking at the cost, because we don't know what the future is going to hold. UCLA just came out with a study saying we could have a slowdown in 2021. There's a 50 to 80% chance of a slowdown, an economic slowdown. We just don't know. Any international event could have huge ramifications on this district. Having said that, I don't want anyone leaving this room thinking we're in trouble. We're not in trouble. So I'm very comfortable and confident that we would survive anything because of the new processes we put in place.
But it does behoove us, Superintendent, all things considered, to keep communicating and advocating to our state and national
Absolutely.
figures because of this, right? That yes, by all accounts, Long Beach is doing well financially, but many of the other districts in our state don't have this much in reserve and haven't been as financially conservative, if you will. And in addition to that, again, if we're trying to fulfill the promise of our public education system as an equitable, system, and it's our most vulnerable students that are being disproportionately impacted by either funding stream or priorities, whether it's at the state level or the national level, it behooves us to educate our communities, our students, our public around this shell game at the end of the day. So I appreciate the optimistic outlook, but that doesn't necessarily address the bigger systemic issues of funding for public education.
You're correct. There's going to be a ballot initiative in 2020. There are some other issues. Prop 98 is the, some people are treating it as the ceiling. It's not the ceiling, it's the floor. And so we really have to have a hard discussion in this state about funding of public schools. And so what we have to do is hit this from multiple fronts. And it's our responsibility to keep our house in order, which we're doing, number one. But the other part is, I think our hope is in the state and not the federal government.
Right.
The federal government, with all due respect, we need to advocate and so on, but it's going to be a while before we get new additional resources there. Our greatest hope is the state of California and to do that, so which we all need to do on a regular basis.
Okay.
Forgive me if I may, there's a tremendous disparity between CalSTRS and CalPERS contribution. Can you help me better understand why?
Sure. In terms of the contribution rates, the CalPERS is able to determine its own rates, the CalPERS board, and that is the money required to keep, in their estimates, the system afloat, meaning providing all the promised benefits to its members. So really, it is the amount of money they need to provide the promised benefits.
Okay. Anything further? Okay, I'm going to now declare the hearing closed and move on. Call for agenda items for separate action or adoption of the agenda as posted.
Move approval?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Approval of minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Communications. Let's see. Dr. Benitez, let's start with you.
Yes, I have the pleasure of calling Principal Christy Granado to the podium.
Oh.
So it's an honor for me to read this resolution on behalf of our board in recognition of all of your service. So let me just begin here. Whereas Christy Granado is retiring after 38 years of dedicated service to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District, and whereas she has served the students of the district as a teacher, counselor, guidance counselor, administrative assistant, vice principal, principal. Is there anything you haven't done? For the middle school and K-8 office, student placement office, pupil personnel services, and at Holmes, Mann, King, Roosevelt, Tucker, and currently Nieto Herrera schools. And whereas as a teacher and administrator, she maintained high standards and she achieved outstanding results and significant academic gains by remaining focused on what is right for students. And whereas her exceptional organizational skills helped to create optimal methods and systems for running the largest elementary schools in the district, and her excellent communication skills brought her school community together to focus intently on improving students' lives. And whereas her voluminous knowledge of district practices and protocols and her ability to handle difficult situations with calmness and integrity have contributed greatly to learning environments that always facilitated learning and could lead to better futures for students and their families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Christy Granado for her significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students. Thank you.
Yes, it'd be like an episode of The Simpsons.
I left my notes back there. Yes, please. It's not a 2-hour speech, I promise. But as I'm listening to the cost for retirement, I'm feeling kind of bad right now. But I earned it. Thank you. I'm grateful for these words. And wow, I can't believe it. I remember thinking about this, but I honestly did not think about retirement until just about 6 months ago. And I want to say I am grateful for being a part of a fabulous district and serving in a variety of positions that gave me a vast amount of knowledge to help me complete the different tasks that you have to manage every day. And every role supported me in learning more and doing better. I've been blessed to work with outstanding leaders, district staff, fellow colleagues, teachers, fabulous supervisors who worked with me. And I leave hoping that my work has touched the lives of many students. I get a little emotional, but in Long Beach Unified School District, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer.
Yes, it's my pleasure to call Rosemary Sissons forward. Rosemary makes me particularly proud because she was a student of mine when I was a teacher at Wilson High School. So whereas Rosemary Sissons is retiring after 23 years of dedicated service to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District, and whereas beginning as secretary in the Office of Curriculum Instruction Professional Development, she has served the students of the district as a teacher, teacher on special assignment, assistant principal, and principal in the Palms office and at Hart, Hudson, Garfield, Twain, Lafayette, Henry, Roosevelt, and Tincher schools. And whereas she has set the high bar, always found ways to support her students to excel in rigorous curricular tasks, embracing a growth mindset with her can-do attitude. And whereas she is an efficient and effective administrator who's focused and organized, and she was a great asset to teachers by modeling effective lessons and helping them stay on tack. And whereas she's straightforward and kind, always ready with a laugh, and during her principalship, Tincher earned state and national recognition for academic excellence and outstanding progress. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Rosemary Sissons for her significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students. Very proud of you, Rosemary.
Thank you, and congratulations. How old were you when you were a teacher? How old was I?
She was a great student. Well, it was 1970.
I am truly blessed with the best
73.
staff that any principal could ever hope for. All I want to say is it's been truly a pleasure and an honor to serve the students, the teachers, and the families of the Long Beach Unified School District. I've appreciated all the support from my colleagues. It's been a true joy to work with the wonderful staff of Long Beach Unified, all the great teachers, and I'm thankful for every opportunity I've been given. Thank you.
And Lynn Gay, would you come up? Whereas Lynn Gay is retiring after 20 years of dedicated service to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District. And whereas after teaching at a private school, she has served the students of the district as a teacher and a teacher on special assignment for the Office of Curriculum, Instruction, and Professional Development, and at Keller, Lafayette, and Stevenson schools. And whereas she is an exceptional educator who is always exploring ways of connecting with her students, and her love of math, music, and technology helped to make her a truly remarkable teacher. And whereas her lessons were always well organized and planned carefully to involve all students, incorporating activities that expanded student learning, encompassing a variety of teaching techniques, and demonstrating her commitment to achieving outstanding results. And whereas she is caring and thoughtful in working with learners of all ages, and she helped fellow teachers find effective ways to use technology in the classroom, and she is a consummate professional who has Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Lynn Gay for significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students. We can't hug over this thing, but.
Thanks for your great work.
Wait, what? Oh, darn it. Oh. I'm like, what? Oh, I know. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you. I even did this formally. Mr. Steinhauser, Madam President, esteemed board members and community. I know this is going to sound like it will be long because I'm starting from when I was a kid, but don't worry, it's not. I spent 20 years working in Long Beach, but since I'm a product of LBUSD, I've really spent almost 42 years in the district. I'm a Long Beach brat, affectionately. I went to Kettering, Hill, and Wilson, and graduated in 1980. Don't do the math. Then to Long Beach City College, and finally a Bachelor's of Arts degree from Cal State Long Beach. My children were products of LBUSD too. I worked as a teacher's aide at Lindbergh Junior High and met my husband there. Magical. I came back to LBUSD in 1999, just in time for Y2K. I was hired by Kim Burrill, which was amazing, because she could see how green I was, but knew that the district would provide the support I needed to enhance my skills. Thank you. I've noticed that Long Beach is very unique in that way, providing training and stuff. Words of wisdom. Number one, work well with others. Teaching looks rather isolated, all locked away in a classroom alone with your 30 or 35 kids, but it isn't. The value of multiple minds is exponential, and the workload becomes manageable. And two, remember that students are little humans, really. They, like the rest of us, are only on the planet for a short time. Their intrinsic value is not about whether or not they can read or solve an algorithm. There's a nugget of preciousness in every child. Remember to honor it. Life is too short for the red line. I'm reading Wonder by R.J. Palacio right now, and I just read this morning that everybody deserves a standing ovation once in their lifetime. So that's really nice to see that you guys did that. But she captures my thinking this way. When you have a choice between being right or being kind, choose kind. Our effect as a teacher is profound, and we will never know it. Thank you for providing me and my family so much for so many years, as a student and as an employee. Look at what you molded, guided, and supported. It is truly profound. I thank you.
Also, on a personal note, I want to thank Lynn and her husband because their son and his girlfriend at the time introduced my son to his now fiancée. So thank you, because we're very pleased with both couples. I guess it could have gone the other way. Whew. And with that, Dr. Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pete Davis. Whereas Pete Davis is retiring after 24 years of dedicated service to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District. And prior to joining the district, he worked for 11 years as a teacher and dean in the Los Angeles Unified School District. Didn't want to say that, Pete, but I had to say it. And whereas he has served the students of the district as assistant principal, principal program administrator, director and assistant superintendent for the high school office, and the middle and Cade schools office, California Academy of Mathematics and Science, and Franklin and Hill schools. And whereas he has consistently modeled through all of his actions his belief that all students are capable of meeting high standards with the proper academic interventions, and he made decisions in the best interest of students to ensure that when they graduate, they are prepared for the college and career of their choice. And whereas he always created environments where those around him could shine as professionals, and he excelled in working with staff to celebrate the successes of his team, including staff who work successfully with higher education and the business community to develop high-quality, work-based learning opportunities for students. And whereas he is a talented and highly personable district leader whose work has greatly impacted administrators, staff, and students. And his comprehensive understanding of learners and teachers was demonstrated in the methods and ideas he implemented to positively affect schools and so many young lives. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Pete Davis for his significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students.
Thanks, Pete. You're the best. Oh, look at that, huh?
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. And, you know, I've watched the folks make I call it the retirement walk, many times. And so to do the retirement walk myself was really kind of fun. I was going to make a PowerPoint, but my brother from another mother, Jay, said, no, you make too many slides. Letitia said, keep it short. Chris S. is fiscally conservative, and he's also a time conservative, so he said, keep it short. I'll probably be in the middle, but there is no PowerPoint. I'm blessed. God, Christ, and the Holy Spirit watch over me and guide me every day. They have provided me with groups of people to grow and learn with, no matter where I've been in life. I didn't start teaching until I was 32. Because I went to, I didn't expect this. I went to Colorado State for 2 years, and I dropped out for a variety of reasons. But I ultimately went back, but I had to do it for 11 years at night school. That always does this to me. I had to work and go to school. I worked in LBUSD, the other place, approximately 10 years before coming to Long Beach. I learned about teaching and being an activities director, department chair, and dean. I refined my personal and academic and professional growth in education and Long Beach Unified as a dean, vice principal, director, and assistant superintendent. I'd like to spend a few moments with you saying thank you and provide a toast. Thank you to my wife, Linda, and daughter, Sage, for supporting me in my growth because it took time and energy away from them. They kept me in my place and grounded me as needed. They encouraged me to see things from the right perspective. And while going through LBUSD schools, my daughter and wife provided me insights into the system I was working and they were learning in. When I was at the school sites, thank you to the students, the families, and the certificated and classified staff who grew up with me on those campuses. We laughed, we cried, we got mad at each other, but we ended up enjoying the majority of the journey as we grew together. Thank you to the business office, the research office, the student support services, school police, CSOs, level offices, Office of Equity and Access, facilities and maintenance offices, the curriculum office, and all the people that support those offices who help make our schools better places for students to learn. Thank you to the Long Beach community at large, our business partners, city government, and higher education systems, LBCC and CSULB, who have supported the high school pathways currently and over the past 10 years. We are better at what we do because we have grown to learn how to support each other. Thank you to the superintendent, Board of Education, executive staff, and level off of colleagues for coming together for the success of all our students and trusting me to support their mission and vision. Thank you to the families and students that trusted me with working to better the learning structure their children were growing up in. Thank you to the administrators, pathway coordinators, lead teachers, counselors, classified staff, teachers, and students who have made our schools the successes they are because of their belief in the work we are all doing to assure all our students are college and career ready. No matter where I've worked in the business world or the academic arena, I believed in equity and access for all, having fun getting the work done, and being a team player. I've been and are blessed to work in an organization that those same values as me and works to bring them to life every day. Thank you to the students and staff and parents of what was once Hill Middle School for a very special middle school experience. Thank you for the students, staff, and parents of CAMS when I was there for a very special high school experience. Thank you to my high school office team. We are and have been truly awesome together. There are a ton of other folks to thank, but I hear the timer about to go off. So let me conclude. This is a special night because the administrative changes will be announced in just a little while. My replacement will be announced. For parents watching who are thinking, what about the stuff you were going to call me about in July, August, and September? I have been creating a list of the follow-up items for the person replacing me. In closing, I wrote a toast for the aspiring principals a couple weeks ago. I think reciting it now would be appropriate in light of the announcements coming up this evening. So the toast went like this. Out goes the old, me. In comes the new, all the new placements, you. I have been blessed with growing up in education with some wonderful, hard, fun, tough people and students who have shaped my career and life. I wish the same, if not better, blessed life for you. Thank you.
Well, it's never easy to say goodbye to people, especially those that have been with us for so many years. But at this time, I'll invite the retirees to go and celebrate if they so choose, except Mr. Davis, who is still working. So he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. But if the other retirees would like to take this opportunity to go and celebrate with your friends and family, then we wish you well. And thank you. It's been quite the evening so far. Okay, let's see. All right, public testimony on items listed on the agenda. We have a few. First, I'd like to invite up Sevli. Not quite sure how to pronounce the last name, so you'll have to help me.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi. My name is Silverly. It's spelled Sevli, but it's pronounced Silverly. Snowen, and I'm here to talk a little bit more about some of the LCAP stuff. And I've been a part of the group that has been working with Robert Targoda and Elisa around the engagement sessions and et cetera. So I'm just here to talk about some things that we noticed in the LCAP. I am from Long Beach. I went to LBUSD. I graduated from Jordan High School. I was the Gates Millennial Scholar in my class, and I went to Berkeley, and I graduated from Hopkins with my MPH in epidemiology and biostats last year, and have returned back to my community with hopes of being able to be an impactful leader. So on that note, I wanted to talk a little bit more about like data disaggregation. I want to acknowledge that I know that our school district is doing a great job of really supporting our students, and I want to acknowledge all the labor and celebrate what y'all are doing. So there was something that we did notice within some of our LCAP folks. We did see that there was some data disaggregation that we wanted to see more of. particularly in the LCAP for Gold 2. There was some disaggregation, but no for Cambodian students or foster youth. And also for Goals 3 and 7, there were only district averages, so there wasn't a lot of data disaggregation, particularly as Asian American folks and Cambodian folks, we do want to see representation in numbers, and that is also a political thing that's happening on like a federal level. But I do want to honor that Dr. Lund is doing a good job of being able to report more than the state is requiring, but we wanted to be able to see that a little bit more throughout the LCAP and throughout our goals, because I want to be able to, as I work with parents, to say like, yeah, here are the numbers of Cambodian folks, here we are, and doing here's how far we have gone. And I also wanted to take note a little bit more about some of the work that we've seen on the ground regarding the implementation of some of the LCAP services. Particularly in page 3, I'm like being very specific. There was in the LCAP, there was in green highlighted that talks about, however, while services are broadly consistent, their implementation will incorporate stakeholder feedback in order to strengthen their effectiveness. That is something that we want to see and we want to celebrate. We honor that the district is making an effort to operationalize and pilot new services to our schools. Yet we want to also recognize that our parents, so the parents that we work with, have shared some inconsistencies of the services and having difficulty navigate them, particularly in Franklin, Washington, and Roosevelt, who have felt lost in addressing their concerns and utilizing the services. For example, parents with students with undocumented status who are affected by bullying and failing classes because there's no notice of their need or intervention. So this is kind of what we're seeing on the ground, and I wanted to just share that narrative with y'all. But also, we're recognizing that school counselors, they are very important connectors to the school and the parent, and we do feel that they are not necessarily equipped with the tools to navigate the additional services, but we don't blame them. We acknowledge that they have heavy workloads, but more so we want to be able to recognize their power in being able to connect parents to resources. So we really want to acknowledge that or consider supporting more counselors, and also even at the high school level too, which is something we're trying to support more on too. But yeah, those are some pieces I have, and I have more colleagues that will share things.
Thank you. I hope somebody was quick enough to take notes. Okay, next I'd like to ask up Jerlene Tatum. There she is.
Good evening. My name is Jerlene Tatum. I am a Long Beach Unified parent, Long Beach Unified graduate myself. I'm here. I just wanted to say thank you to the board and the district for allowing parents to be part of this engagement process this last year and allowing us to actually have some influence in the LCAP forum, and we really hope that those can continue forward and that more parent engagement will come out of that. And one specific thing, I'm not going to be as detailed as the last person, but one thing that we would like to ask, or coming from the parents that we represent in the community, is more dollars being placed in the area that's going to address social emotional learning for our youth. If a child is traumatized, they're not going to be able to learn. If a child is afraid or scared to go to school every day, they're not going to be able to learn. And I just wanted to share that we recently had a situation in our school district. A parent is here tonight, Ms. Rashida McCord, and her son, Jalen Williams, 10th grade student, Poly High student. He was attacked on 16th Street and Long Beach Boulevard, right down the street from his school on May 16th. And he had bruises, abrasions, and a damaged eardrum. And my first thought when I read that and saw that, when I have a child the same age, my son's 17, was what's happening. And because I've been involved in this process, this LCAP process, I'm like, hey, that's where social emotional learning dollars are supposed to be applied, or parent engagement to kind of keep us connected. So in that, we'd like to ask that not only the dollars be applied, but the actions be applied in that as well, because no one reached out to that family. And hope that the parent is unable to speak tonight. She was unable to grab a card, but she is here tonight. Hope that someone can reach out to her and her son as they're going through this trauma. I was made aware that the school is going to offer some counseling, yet we know that this is not a singular occurrence in our community, and just ask you to not only put some action in that area, but put some dollars as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Betty.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Betty. I'm with the Children's Defense Fund California, and I'm here to also speak on the LCAP. Really want to also appreciate the efforts this year to be able to work with the district and collaborate in planning for the forums and ensuring that parents and students have much more of a meaningful way to engage in this process. So I want to start off first by saying that we really celebrate the district in creating a stakeholder engagement process this year that also utilizes voting to identify the top priorities for LCFF investments to meet the needs of high-need students. This is really exciting and moves us in the right direction. It helps the district center what families are saying they and students need to be and feel supported. Makes real and apparent that their input is heard and valued. We noticed this year that the result of this voting process results in a vote by the board. This means that in the current draft of the LCAP that's available to community, there's no information on which of the recommendations we saw earlier would actually be implemented, how many of them would be implemented, and what is actually available to be budgeted for those services that stakeholders have been recommending. We also don't know then what the services would look like in the fall if they're going to be implemented, and who will have access to them. Given that the vote is happening today, the details of which I'm not clear on, this does not provide any notice to the stakeholders who participated in this process. We hope that moving forward, the district can make more effective this community engagement opportunity by taking your lead from parents who participated in this voting process. And listening and perhaps including them in the dialogue that would identify what the services would look like, where they might need to be, what schools, and who they should be made available to. Secondly, I just wanted to raise that to help better understand the array of perspectives of community who may not be a part of these official advisory committees, we really recommend the district invest in qualitative research infrastructure, so future opportunities, such as community forums, for families and students to provide feedback on the LCAP can also see their ideas reflected. We know not every parent or student can be on school site council or these advisory committees, but it's also really important to be able to ensure they're also heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Terry.
Good evening. I am delighted to be here on behalf of all my students of the Adult Community Transition Program at Cal State Long Beach, where I've been an educator there for going on 24 years. We have been diligently working together with the City of Long Beach Department of Water in trying to get a contract put together for a paid work experience program wherein the Department of Water will fund paying our students, and this is a groundbreaking opportunity for our students because typically they do their job training as a part of their vocational education component only if there's money in a grant or something, but this is really groundbreaking, so we're really excited. And you're going to have that, I think, on the agenda this evening. You'll be voting on that, so I ask of your support in that. And I publicly want to thank Dr. Brown, Dr. Heenan, and Dr. LaShonda Prelo for your endless support on making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, staff report, we have none. Public testimony on items not listed on the agenda. Mr. Charles Coleman.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you for the opportunity. Just two items. One is on, I'm here as a CAMS parent, alumni, and foundation member. First, on the website, CAMS website, we would like to request that there's verbiage there issued by the principal dated November 9th, 2018, if that can be removed. For reasons I won't read it out, but it's spelled out in the, out of respect, Mr. Davis, I didn't know you were retiring tonight. So I shifted my comments because, you know, he's put out the years, and as a military person, we always concur. So out of respect, I'm not going to read that. But it is available on the site. The second reason is that we had students, CAM students, for the ROV wanted to come tonight, but because there's a conflict of reading that as a directive from the principal not to participate or to request funds from the foundation, they opted to stay out. But on their behalf, myself, like Mr. Davis, we're CAM's parent, we have to be there for our parents, for our students. So they've requested $2,000, and we're just asking if the board would consider that approval. We would issue that to them. They're on their way to Tennessee next week, if it works out that way. Otherwise, we don't have to work out something else. And lastly, Mr. Davis, although we had our differences, but all the very best to you. And I know you've been up in CAM supporting, and we couldn't have asked for a better person. I know you put your time in, so all the honor goes with you. And thank you very much, members of the board, for your time.
Thank you. And next, we have Mrs. Coleman. Malaya? Yeah.
Talofa and aloha, everyone. My name is Malaya Fepulea Ito Omalatai Coleman. I'm a CAM's parent, alumni, since 1997. Classes of 2001, 2, 4, 11. My daughters 12, 15, 17, and November 7, 2019. I'm also a CAM's Foundation board member. Since 2017, the Create Academic Magic for Students CAM's Foundation has gifted a grad lei to each senior who graduated from CAM's high school. First, grad lei is optional and not mandatory. We requested approval from the board to participate, like other sponsors of scholarship, to create a space for us and a platform to inform the seniors and their parents. The grad lei is free to all students at CAMS. Graduating seniors, class of that year, at Senior Awards Night, all students shall receive a grad lei unless they decline them. Second, we request approval to bestow the grad lei to each CAM senior near the entrance where the used to call StubHub, now is Dignitary Health Sports. Maybe next time we'll have another sponsor. We shall not interfere with the function of the seniors who enter for the back center. Above all, alumni of CAMS wanted to wish our seniors as well as all the best in the future. Right now, this is the CAMS, the next 2020. And it has a message. I always put a message there because actually a lei stands for there's no beginning, no ending of your accomplishments. And it's always, it takes me 5 hours to create one and prepare one for each senior. So I started in the summer, and if you receive an email, please excuse because I did not write those emails. It came from Charles. Because once when I start, I cannot enter any negative in my heart because the message that goes with the lei is nothing but blessings. And the blessings in the back of the lei, it says, be your best, live your best, enjoy your best, loving, lovely self. And this one, it goes to each of the senior if they choose to. And this lei, it says, CAMS graduate, California Academy of Mathematics and Science, congratulations, class of 2020. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for the board for allowing me to speak, Mr. Superintendent. And also as a member, actually, I'm a coordinator for the Pacific Island Education Voyage. I am very happy to be here. I am very happy to let you know that in my heart, goes with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, congratulations. I didn't know you retired. I was going to make you Ole.
Next, we have Diamond.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank God for this opportunity, and I want to compliment you for all your hard work for all our students and the children in the whole community. I stand here representing, I'm from the community, the Pacific Island Education Voyager in the community. I'm a proud grandma of 10, 2 graduated already in college and universities with honors 4-year scholarships. One graduated from Wilson High with 4-year scholarship, want to be an engineer for NASA, is now going to school at Cal State University. And also, one of my oldest grandsons going to the University of Arizona, Northern Arizona University in Arizona, to be a doctor. He graduated with honors, 4-year scholarship of academic and sports. So all the hard work you guys put in is very, very good, and I compliment you highly, and I thank you for that. And also for all the staff, the teachers as well, in all the schools. And the reason why I'm standing here to address an issue is because I witnessed and I was supporting Pacific Island for camp's graduation on June 4th, and I was there with Malaya Coleman with all the lace. We set it up an hour before the children come to present it to them, each and every one of them. She custom made all of them by herself, single-handed, 164 donation for all the students. And this is from our culture. We present it with all our hearts by giving the lace to each and every students, to anybody. And that's a token of our love for all their hard works of mission to accomplish in school. So as a great-grandma, I'm very grateful to God for all the education that our kids are getting, from the love and support that you all superiors as well as your staff are giving. And the issue is about the misconduct, I would say, on the principal of camps, not allowing us, that she told the officer, to remove us from the premises, not to give lace to the children. And that's what's totally unacceptable in our culture. And we look at it and we say that it's an insult and it's a discrimination, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed and to be taken care of, because it's zero tolerance, and that's not right for any culture or any nationality to be treated like that, or any organization that is supporting the school and also the students. So thank you for your time. God bless.
Thank you. David Brown.
Good evening to the administrator, superintendent, and the board. Before I start it, I want to congratulate all the retirees tonight. I think they're well deserved. My name is David Brown, and I have a radio show and radio company that we cater to the Pacific Islander people. So I'm the media resources to them, and I witnessed the incident happen over there at Dominguez last Tuesday. They were treated unfairly. I think it needs to be addressed, and something needs to be done, because everybody deserves to be treated fairly and equal treatment. And we'll make it nice and short and sweet. Hopefully we can take care of this matter. And thanks for allowing us tonight, and good night.
Thank you. Okay, business items, personnel, Dr. Williams.
Yes, Madam Chair, I have the personnel report prepared by our Deputy Superintendent of Education Services, Ms. Ruth Ashley, and approved by our Superintendent, Chris Steinhauser. I'll read the classified portion of the report first. There were 79 appointments, 9 leaves of absence, 2 terminations of service, 19 resignations, 12 retirements, 2 amendments, and 1 rescission. For the certificated portion, there were 106 appointments, 16 in-service changes, 6 leaves of absence, 1 separation deceased, 4 resignations, 25 retirements, and 3 amendments, and I move approval.
Second?
Discussion?
Yeah, Madam President, I just want to, you know, retirements start to trickle in usually in January and February, and we see a couple of names here and there. And, you know, as a longtime parent in the district, I'm always looking for folks that I know. But if you have an agenda in front of you or have access to it, the list of talent retiring from the district tonight is pretty staggering. From teachers and principals with 37 years experience, 33 years experience, 20, 16, 38 years, and classified staff anywhere from 15 to 42 years of service in this district. It was really overwhelming. So to be with all of you tonight, especially on a night when there's a lot of hope and anticipation about promotions and new leadership, I just really want to acknowledge it's a stellar group of retirees on the agenda tonight. So thank you for your service.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Instruction.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to pipe up just a couple times tonight. I want to thank a new Community Advisory Committee for Special Education, 3 new appointments of folks to that, and also the approval. OCIPD and curriculum are always writing new courses for us, and they sneak them in every once in a while. And so a new elective course available to all high schools to teach is a digital literacy for college and career readiness class, which I think is critical in this age of media. So thank you, OCIPD, for all the work that you do behind the scenes.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Finance Report A.
Move approval.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Finance Report B.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I recuse myself from participation in Finance Report B. On the consent calendar, I have a potential financial interest under Government Code 1091 and 87100. My husband works for a subcontractor who has done work for the payees.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 4-1. Business Department Report.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Purchasing and Contracts Report A.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair. Item number 10, which is on page 3, just clarification on the wording DBQ project. What does that stand for? DBQ?
DBQ stands for Document-Based Questions, and it's a part of our history social science curriculum that uses actual documents to stimulate the students' thinking, and they respond to those.
You know, at some point, maybe we need to break down some of these abbreviations.
That's very good advice, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think that would be helpful. Any further discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair. So items 4 and 14. It's actually very curious to me that we pay Cal State Long Beach and LBCC 25 grand to give tours for 4th and 5th graders. Is there like special accommodations that are made, Superintendent, or?
So this goes back to when we signed the promise in 2008. And so these resources are used to hire college students to give the tours.
Got it.
So these students are our students
Got
who
it.
graduated from Long Beach Unified, attending those campuses, giving it. It's been highly successful.
That makes a little bit more sense to me because I was thinking, why is the outreach office charging additional $25,000 for something?
They hire these young people.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Purchasing and Contracts Report B.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I recuse myself from participation in purchasing contract report B on the consent calendar. I have a potential financial interest under Government Code 1091 and 87100. My husband works for a subcontractor who has done work for the payees.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You. I'll
Have it.
pretend I didn't hear
I
that.
didn't say it.
I think you should do a revote, Madam Chair.
A revote? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 4-1.
4-0.
4-0. Well, 4-0-1?
Yes.
Right, then the vote on Finance Report B, I should have said 401. I don't.
She'll record it correctly.
So you'll record it correctly even though I don't say it correctly?
We're getting a little loopy up here, sorry.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Superintendent items.
Yes, Madam President and members of the board, we have one student for expulsion tonight. So the student is student 740. This student would be expelled under Education Codes 48900.4 and would not be eligible to apply for readmission until after the end of the fall semester in the year 2019-20.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0.
Yeah.
Administrative assignments?
Yes. So before I get started, please do not try to write these down. They're actually, I'm going to read off 71 names. Once these, if they're approved tonight, Mrs. Ashley will give out hard copies for everyone to give. There are actually 36 promotions, and the other 35 are moves, lateral moves for individuals. Just for those who are in the audience and for those who will be watching this on TV, it takes staff months and months to study these promotions and to study placements of individuals. We actually look at the needs of the schools, the needs of the individuals, the talents of everybody involved. And then sometimes happens, we find out about a late retirement and we have to go back to the drawing board. So it's not uncommon for us to have work done maybe 3-4 weeks ahead, and we'll find out about another retirement and another one. So it's an ongoing living process. Hopefully tonight we will have completed 99.9% of it. But I will start with the elementary and move to what we call the non-level. So here we go. And Mrs. Ashley and Dr. Baker are going to check my work to make sure that I stay on task. So, okay, the first one, elementary, Alvarado. We're recommending promotion of Cheryl Huber from assistant principal at Monroe Measure E to principal of Alvarado. And again, I apologize if I mispronounce anyone's name. Brenda Ocampo, who is currently at Hart as an assistant principal, to Principal Chavez. Rachel Peters, who is currently assistant principal at Kettering with Measure E program, to principal at Kettering. Nancy Dalton, who is currently assistant principal at Wilson, to principal Stevenson Elementary School. Patrick Booker, who is currently assistant principal at Stevens Middle School, to principal Twain Elementary School. Nicole Kelly, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Garfield Elementary, to assistant principal at Adams Elementary. Tony Alfonso, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Bixby Elementary, to assistant principal at Lincoln Elementary. Ann Erkson, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Signal Hill Elementary, to assistant principal at Roosevelt Elementary. Jacqueline Williams, who is currently the principal of Twain, to the principal of Barton. Juan Gutierrez, who is currently the principal of Kettering, to the principal of Edison. Monica Alas, who is currently a principal at Smith, to the principal of Garfield. Lachelle Diggs, who is currently a principal at Riley, to a principal at U.S. Grant. Clara Alvarez, who is currently the principal of Garfield, to the principal of Herrera. Richard Littlejohn, who is currently the principal of Barton, to the principal of Oropeza. Mona Cook, who is currently principal of Oropeza, to the principal of Riley. Hugo Figueroa, currently the principal of Chavez, to the principal of Smith. Donna Robertson, who is currently assistant principal at Roosevelt, to assistant principal at U.S. Grant. Mary Beth Murray, who is currently the assistant principal of Barton Smith, to the assistant principal of Hart. Doug Jordan, who is currently the assistant principal at Riley for the Measure E program, to assistant principal at Kettering with the Measure E program. Charo Darwin Goma, who is currently assistant principal of Lincoln, to assistant principal of Whittier. Now moving on to the middle and K-8 level. George Montanez, who is currently assistant principal of Powell, to the principal of Hamilton. Kathleen Reed, who is currently assistant principal at Jefferson, to the principal of Nelson Middle School. Alma Black, who is currently assistant principal of Lindsay, to the principal of Tincher K-8. Roshan Williams, who is currently the assistant principal at Franklin Middle School, to the principal of Washington Middle School. Patrice Rice, who is currently a teacher at Jordan, to assistant principal at Jefferson Middle School. Tori Baker, who is currently a teacher at Washington, to assistant principal of Lindbergh Middle School. Brooke Hogan, who is currently a teacher at Robinson K-8, to assistant principal of Lindsay Middle School. Demita Myers-Miller, who is currently the principal of Robinson K-8, to the principal of Gompers K-8. Sal Madrigal, who is currently the principal of Stevens Middle School, to the principal of Robinson. Megan Traver, who is currently the principal of Washington Middle School, to the principal of Stevens Middle School. Danette Armstrong, who is currently the assistant principal of Lindbergh, to assistant principal of Bancroft. Jamal Richardson, who is currently assistant principal of Bancroft, to assistant principal of Franklin. Maynard Montiel, currently assistant principal of Jefferson, to the assistant principal of Hughes Middle School. Eddie Cruz, who is currently assistant principal of Hughes Middle School, to the assistant principal of Jefferson Middle School. Darren Evans, who is currently the principal of Edison, to assistant principal of Stevens Middle School. Nora Valdez, who is currently the head counselor at Beach, to the head counselor at the middle school K-8 office. Now on to the high school. Tamika Romont, who is currently administrative assistant in the high school office, to a vice principal at the Lakewood High School. Keisha Irving Holder, who is currently assistant principal of Renaissance, to the vice principal of Millikan High School. Matt Brown, who is currently assistant principal of Pauley High School, to the vice principal at Pauley High School. Renee Shipman, who is currently assistant principal at Wilson, to the vice principal of Wilson. Myrna Utua Lascar, I hope I said that correctly, teacher on special assignment at Beach, to assistant principal of Lakewood High School. Aaron Feiler, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Pauley, to assistant principal of Millikan High School. Macy Jenowitz, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Wilson, to assistant principal of Millikan High School. Daniel Wu, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Jordan, to assistant principal of Millikan High School. Edward Steinhauser, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Wilson, to assistant principal at Wilson. Lloyd Wilson, who is currently a teacher on special assignment at Powell, to assistant principal at Wilson. Guadalupe Sadana, who is currently a counselor at Chavez Elementary, to head counselor at Browning High School. Kim Johnson Gultul, who is currently a counselor at Jordan, to the head counselor at CAMS. Michelle Green, who is currently a teacher at Franklin Middle School, to the activity specialist at Jordan High School. Gonzalo Moraga, who is currently a principal of Wilson, to the principal at McBride High School. Michael Navia, who is currently the principal of Millikan, to the principal of Renaissance. Kim Holland, who is currently the principal of Renaissance, to the principal of Wilson High School. Julie Sparks, who is currently the assistant principal of Lakewood, to the assistant principal at CAMS. All right. Next. Last page. Did I miss that? Oh, see, thank you. Thank you. Chris Thompson, who is currently a principal of CAMS, to the assistant principal of Lakewood. See, that's why I need help. Next, at the non-level, so this would be
There's still more on the high school list.
Thank you. I don't know what happened to that sheet. Katie Hickox, who's assistant principal of Adams, to assistant principal at Bride. Thank you, Letitia. Nicole Lopez, who is currently assistant principal of Lakewood, to assistant principal of Powell. Shannon Williams Young, who is currently the assistant principal of Millikan, to assistant principal of Pauley. Dan Jimenez, who is currently the assistant principal of Millikan, to assistant principal of Renaissance and Sato. Next, we have the non-level. David Zaid, who is currently the Director of Employee Relations and Community Engagement, to the Assistant Superintendent, Human Resource Services. Christy Kale, who is currently the Senior Instructional Director at Principal Supervisor at the Middle and K-8 Office, to Assistant Superintendent, research, planning, evaluation, and school improvement. Steve Rockenbach, who is currently the principal of McBride High School, to the Director of Employee Relations and Ethics. Lucy Salazar, who is currently the principal of Alvarado, to the Director of Community Partnerships. Liseth Ramos, current Assistant Principal Whittier, to the Vice Principal of Measure E in the elementary office. Did I already do that one, didn't I? Okay, Katera Hernandez, Administrative Assistant in the elementary office, to a Program Administrator of the Human Resource Services. Chris Itzen, who is currently Activity Specialist at Cabrillo, to Administrative Assistant in the Deputy Superintendent's Office. Chris Line, who is currently the Assistant Superintendent of Research, Planning, Evaluation, and School Improvement, to the Assistant Superintendent, Middle and K-8 Schools. Jay Camarino, who is currently Assistant Superintendent, Middle and K-8 Office, to Assistant Superintendent, High Schools. Cecilia Santos Camarino, who is currently the Instructional Director, Principal Supervisor in the elementary schools, to the Instructional Director, Principal Supervisor, Middle and K-8 Office. Quentin Brown, who is currently a Principal of Poly, to the Program Administrator in the Deputy Superintendent of Schools Office. Carmen Hernandez, who is currently the Assistant Principal with the Facilities Department for Measure E, to Administrative Assistant in OCIPD. And Sasha Tua, who is currently Assistant Principal of Milliken, to the Administrative Assistant in the high school office. Did I get it? Okay, thank you. Oh, go ahead and take a vote, and I have one thing to say.
I move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes. So, Mr. Superintendent, given the number of recommended administrative changes and the breadth of the scope across the recommended administrative changes, I think it would be important to, in general terms, walk us through what considerations, criteria, processes executive staff and yourself use to make these recommendations.
Sure.
In consideration, again, of the number and the scope and breadth of the recommended changes.
Sure. First of all, the recommendations do not increase the number of administrators we have in the district. In fact, we're saving money. Hard to believe. I'm always looking at saving money. So the next piece is that we actually take, as I said earlier, about a 6-month process to, once we find out about openings in the district, because one opening will have a domino effect. So one opening can have as many as 5 dominoes behind it. So what we look at are the needs of the particular school. Many times administrators will say to us, I've been at school X for a long time, I'm open to a change, open to a different experience. So we look at that. And we most importantly look at the needs of the school site and the talents of the individuals going to the school site. So that's, in a nutshell, what we look at it. And sometimes people will, like I said earlier, may say, I've been at a certain level, may I go to another level for another experience? Because the goal of all these issues, when you're promoted in this district, the goal is that if you're promoted as an assistant principal or an administrative assistant, the goal is for you to become an administrator of a school site. That's the goal. The goal is not to be in my position as an assistant principal for the rest of my professional career. So we really want to make sure that we give everybody in this district multiple opportunities to have as many experiences as they can to do the job that they have to do. I'll just use me as an example. Before I became the superintendent, I had 9 different jobs to do this. Unfortunately, today, we don't have that many positions available to folks who are going for promotions. And I will honestly say that in order to be effective, you have to have as many experiences as possible. And so what we have to do today is look at how can we give that breadth to our individuals who are looking at running our schools, because we know that the most important thing that enhances student achievement are the teachers in our classroom, and right behind that are the leaders of our schools. So.
Can you talk a little bit, thank you, Mr. Superintendent, can you talk a little bit more about, some parents, students, and community members love their principal. The upside to not having the same principal at the same school for a long period of time, and when these considerations actually start to shape place. I mean, you said 6 months ago, but really, sort of the 30,000 foot level of looking down at the school sites themselves?
The 30,000 foot level is that there's no policy by the board that after X amount of years you move from school A to school B. But it really is about after starting at 4 years, again, we look at those individuals, and sometimes those individuals will come to us and say, you know, I'm open for another opportunity. What we share with parents is that it's good growth for parents and for the schools and for the staffs to have leaders, new leaders at their sites. Because with new leaders come new ideas, come new opportunities. And the beauty here is you could be a principal at school A for 10 years and go to another school and do a fantastic job and build upon those successes at that school. Because, and again, I'll use my experience as a principal. In 1990, I became a principal at Signal Hill Elementary School. 4 years later, I left. Today, that school has about 5 different principals. That school is 10 times better than it was in 1990 because every principal built upon what the previous principal had done. And I think that's the beauty that we have here in Long Beach, that everybody has talents and every school's at a different place in its journey. And soon you'll see when the test scores are released, we have excellence throughout this entire system. So we want to look at where a school is and take it going forth. A prime example is Cabrillo High School. So Cabrillo High School will probably end this year with around a 90% graduation rate and with around a 50% A through G rate. And remember, the students who attend Cabrillo, about 90% of them are on free and reduced lunch. These are remarkable stats for a school that has those kinds of data points. So again, are we satisfied? Absolutely not. And the next principal who takes Dr. Corneo's spot will build upon the great work that she and her team, and that's the key, the team has done, because all these schools have teams. It's not a individual.
I forget now, did we have a motion?
No, you haven't had you have a motion.
We have a motion and a second.
Oh, okay. Right, we were discussing it. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0.
Now, if I may, Madam President, for those who are just promoted tonight, if you're here, if you would come up to the podium and please say who you are and where you're going, because it's important for the board and everybody to see who you are. So there's no official order, just, George, I'm going to make you go first.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hold on, George. No, please don't clap until the very end so we can have, here.
Good evening, board members, executive staff. My name is George Montanez, and I'm coming from Poly Pal, assistant principal, and I'm promoting to principal at Hamilton Middle School.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, right. No applause.
Hi, I'm Lucy Salazar, moving from Alvarado, and I'll be Director of Community Partnerships.
Good evening. I'm Lloyd Wilson, and I'm moving from Poly Pal to Wilson High School. Go Bruins.
Hi, I'm Brenda El Campo, and I'm the assistant principal at Hart, and we'll be moving to Chavez as principal.
Good evening. I'm Tori Baker, and I'm a teacher at Washington Middle School, and I'll be assistant principal at Lindbergh.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Reed. I'm currently at Jefferson and as assistant principal, and I will be going to Nelson as principal.
Good evening. I'm Edward Steinhauser, pathway coordinator at Wilson and assistant principal at Wilson next year.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Johnson-Agoto, counselor at Jordan. I'll be head counselor at Camps.
Hello, I'm Tamika Roman, administrative assistant in the high school office, vice principal at Lakewood.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Peters, assistant principal, man at Kettering, going to principal at Kettering.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Kelly. I'm the TOSA at Garfield, going to vice principal at Adams.
Hello, Macy Jelenowitz, TOSA at Wilson, and I'm going back home where I graduated from, to Milliken High School.
Good evening. I'm Renee Shipman. I'm currently the assistant principal at Wilson and will be the vice principal at Wilson.
Good evening. Nancy Dalton, assistant principal at Wilson. I will be going to Stevenson as a principal. Thank you.
Good evening, Matt Brown, assistant principal at Poly, going to be vice principal at Poly. I'm not Patrick Galogli.
I know that.
Hello, everyone. Kateria Hernandez. I'm currently the administrative assistant in the elementary office, going to program administrator in human resources.
Good evening. My name is Alma Black. I'm currently the assistant principal at Lindsay, and I will be principal at Tincher. Thank you.
Hi, Cheryl Huber. I'm the assistant principal at McKinley at Monroe, and I will be at Alvarado. Principal.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Green. I'm currently a teacher at Franklin Middle School, and I'm headed to Jordan as the activities director.
Good evening. I'm Erin Filer. I'm a TOSA at Poly, and I'm going to be an assistant principal at Milliken.
Good evening. I'm Chris Itson, and I will be administrative assistant in this building.
Steve Rockenbach, and I'll be Director of Human Relations and Ethics.
David Zaid, and I will go from employee relations to serving as the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources.
Christy Kale, and I'm in the Midland K-8 Schools office, and I'm heading back to research as Assistant Superintendent.
Okay, let's have one big round of applause for all of our Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for being here. Just if you're at home watching, or you'll watch this eventually, these people barely had an hour's notice or so, that we wanted them here to be announced. Okay, new business. Naming of an existing school building, Milliken High School Auditorium.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Board Policy 6142.1, Sexual Health and HIV/AIDS Prevention Instruction.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Superintendent, could you walk us through the policy right now if a parent wants to opt out of the, okay, thank you, of our sex ed, HIV/AIDS prevention instruction, what the current policy is?
The existing policy, according to state law, is what's called a passive opt-out. Parents are notified in writing of the curriculum and the dates for which it will be taught, and if they wish to opt out their child,
you know what,
they then respond in writing to the school site.
We're going to hold on just a second because there's so much noise coming from the back that we can't hear. So we'll just wait a second as people are filing out. So, a lot of changes to make tonight, a lot of people here. They are moving. Just wait a second.
You know, while we're waiting, could we not give a little airtime to the person for whom we're naming that auditorium at Milliken after?
Yes, that auditorium is being named for Bob Brigham.
Very good.
And he's been a huge part of Milliken. I don't know the number of years offhand, but for a good number of years. And I think I think his spirit will stick around that auditorium. He's just been involved for so long, and all the musicals, all the productions, all the shows. And
very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, Madam Chair, it says he was planning to retire from LBUSD this June after 34 years of service,
Right.
but passed away on March 12th. So,
Yes.
34 years.
Yeah, 34 years. Okay, continue, please.
So there are three portions to the revisions on this board policy, and they're measures that go into effect in January of 2020. We have implemented them now as a policy because our students in 7th grade may take their health course at the first semester as opposed to those that would take it at the second semester. So those three areas are that clarifies that it's passive opt-out. Parents are informed in writing of the curricular content of the material to be presented, as well as the timeline, and they must actively opt out if they want in writing, if they want their students to not be a part of that. The second component deals with instruction around affirmative consent, which is already built into our healthy relationships portion. What is new then is the third component, which is information to be provided to parents around human sex trafficking.
And regarding the opt-out, what arrangements are made for those students that opt out of the
They're
sex
given
ed?
an alternate assignment. They can do that. Sometimes it's in the library, sometimes it's with another teacher.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have any further discussion about this one? No. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. My glasses. Waive selected K through 12 contract provisions.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Approval of a member to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? Do we have our?
He's here, so after
Oh,
you.
he's here?
after
Okay,
you take
after
your
the vote. All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. So, do we have our new member, Mr. Michael Bishop?
Yes, he was here, yes. Come on,
Ah.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, sorry, we're going to put you on the spot.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and give them a little bit of your history as a
Sure. Name is Michael Bishop, resident in the city of Long Beach since 1987. 2 children, graduated from Long Beach Unified Poly High School. I am retired from chief business official position last with Santa Ana Unified. All told, a 32-year career working at Laco, Compton Unified, Paramount Unified, and retired out of Santa Ana Unified.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
you're
you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, local requirement in mathematics exemption education code section 51224.5.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Physical education exemption education code 5124C1.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Physical education exemption, 2-year exemption, education code 5124B1.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Physical education, temporary exemption, education code 5124A1.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Comprehensive, we're good, okay. Comprehensive school safety plan.
Is that an information?
Information.
item?
Oh, that was,
Just information.
No, it's an action
Oh, I'm
item.
sorry.
Move approval?
Second.
I see.
discussion?
Yeah, can we just get a quick overview on what this is, just because it's one of those things that, oh, Chief Hickman is here, thank you.
That's handy.
Yeah, if we could just get it, this is one of those things that if someone's hearing it in passing, comprehensive school safety plan, they'll say, what? So if this is a compliance issue, if you could just kind of clear up.
Yes, the state requires that every K-12 campus in the district has a comprehensive school safety plan that's drafted and approved each year. It's reviewed by my office and then forwarded to the board for approval. And that's usually done at the end of every school year.
I think that's good for everybody to know that we do this on an annual basis,
Yes,
that it's updated.
Yes, ma'am.
And who participates in the development of the plan?
It's actually developed by the site itself, the principal, and usually members of the community, members of parents at the site, and then there's actually some templates that we provide for the site to draft the plan, and then we review the plan, and then once we review it, then it's brought before the board for approval.
Okay, any other questions for him? No, thank you.
No problem.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. And this is an information item, local control and accountability plan and budget for fiscal year 2019-2020. So go to
The vote will be next week.
Okay.
Yeah, just to reiterate, Mr. Superintendent, because I know there were some comments made earlier, we're not taking action on this today. It will be at the next board meeting.
Yes.
So if folks had some additional thoughts, they could reach out to Robert's office and submit
Correct.
those, or talk to you
And it
about
can
the
be
budget.
revised at any given time.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution 061019-A regarding the education protection account for fiscal year 2019-2020.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Resolution 061019-B, giving authorization for temporary cash borrowing between funds.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Resolution 061019-C, superseding resolution number 060618-C and establishing revolving cash fund for the Long Beach Unified School District.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Resolution 061019-D, approving a notice of federal interest and authorizing district staff to execute the notice of federal interest for real property located at 171 West Bort Street, Long Beach, California, 90805, and authorizing necessary actions in connection therewith.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. And now we come to report of board members. Elaine, it's time for your report.
With many activities, a lot of student participation, and a good school culture. Prom was May 18th at the Maya Hotel, and we had a lot of fun with dancing, foosball tables, and a photo booth. During our senior awards night on Wednesday, a lot of awards were presented. This includes honors and scholarships. The Cecil Stevens Foundation gave about $70,000 in scholarships for our Jordan seniors. HBCU gave nearly $1 million, and there was $60,000 in additional scholarships. Our grad night was June 7th at Universal Studios, and we had a lot of positive feedback from students and staff. ASB was about 70 seniors, and 62 of them will be attending four-year universities. Over 250 Jordan seniors will be attending four-year universities.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. And what about your plans?
I'll be attending UC Davis with a major in communications.
Good for you.
Madam Chair, I didn't catch the major. What's the major again?
Communications.
Okay, Ms. Kerr.
All right, we're gonna start this then. All right, so since you're here from Jordan today, I'm feeling a little underdressed. But this morning at 7:15, it was so much fun to go to Jordan and hop on buses with seniors. About 150 seniors volunteered to do the annual grad tour. So they split up into 3 buses and headed to elementary schools and middle schools. And a joy to see the little ones give them high fives and their rec aides and their teachers from past years remembering them and being really proud of their accomplishments. So we're super proud of the work that you guys have done at Jordan, and it's always so much fun to do the grad tour, hence the t-shirt. Also, we unveiled today, in partnership again with Councilmember Rex Richardson of the 9th District, our graduate banners along the Atlantic Avenue and Artesia Boulevard corridors in North Long Beach. So take a stroll down there. They were already half up by the time I left this afternoon to see the pride that North Long Beach has for its students who are headed to college next year and to our armed forces. So again, thanks to Councilmember Rex Richardson for his continued partnership and also some scholarships that were given out of our North Long Beach Education Fund at the awards ceremony. This is the payoff time of year, so I won't go into details because it's been a really long meeting and an exciting meeting, but this is the time where we get to see, as I say, the batch of cookies come out of the oven. So for Sato, we see the first batch of cookies out of the oven, and it was an honor to be at their very first ever graduation. And then to have two principals in North Long Beach retiring that I got to see this morning as they see their last batch of cookies head out of the oven. So thank you again to everyone who's contributed in ways big and small that are seen and unseen to the success of our students as we celebrate their next steps, whatever they might be. So especially congratulations to the Jordan Urban Math Collaborative young men who looked incredibly dapper at their celebration last weekend. And to the Khmer Parents Association for honoring Cambodian students and giving scholarships out to our Cambodian youth as they move forward. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Dr. Williams.
Yes. Given the length of time between our board meetings, a lot of activity has occurred. And Megan has talked about a little about the graduations. So there's a lot going on, but first and foremost, I wanted to congratulate Mary Beth Murray on the completion of her doctorate degree. She's here. I served on her committee, and I think I signed off on it, Mary Beth, but her doctorate, her dissertation, Early Childhood Teacher Preparation, a narrative inquiry of first and second year ECE teachers' perceptions about their preparation for working with children with special needs. And it was quite exciting to sit in on the discussions about her dissertation, the implications of the work, for the 3 sessions that I sat in on at Cal Poly Pomona, each one I thought it would be over with, Mary Beth, but I'm glad to see that you finally reached that hurdle. And in terms of the work, I think I read about 3 drafts, so good job, very good job. Also, in conjunction with that, a number of years ago, in visits to Barton Elementary School, I noticed that there was an informal chess club there, and it was an activity that kids engaged in for those who wanted to be involved. And over a period of years, as I went back and forth to Barton, I saw that the kids still engaged, so I thought it would be nice to formalize that and make that a regular project because of its impact on a number of things relative to how it helps shape and develop the mind. And so I got with Mary Beth, who was the assistant principal there, and we talked about this project and in terms of its overall relevance to changing some dynamics of the kids at Barton. And we put a proposal together, and that proposal represented bringing parents in, talking about the project and our thoughts about the outcome objectives of having a chess program, having competition and that kind of thing, and getting the business community involved in it in terms of making awards to kids who perform well. Today, we actually have that program in place. As people can see, it's formalized. There are kids there who are now engaged in playing chess. Let's roll the next slide.
Oh, you have the clicker.
Oh, I have the clicker.
You have it.
How did this get here?
Magic.
Okay.
It's quick.
As we can see, there is competition now between Barton and Smith, where they are actually having chess competition. And that program is growing. Again, we see our young folks engaged in the chess activity at and the work there, and it's quite exciting seeing this actually take off and so forth. I mean, it's really doubled in terms of its scope. And so here's what we're hoping to see at some point as this program gets traction. We're hoping that we'll begin to see changes in the attitudes and behaviors of students. And Chris, you won't be doing the work for us any longer in terms of looking at that kind of information, but we're looking to see a number of things occur as a result of this program. That a lessening of kids who get involved in gangs, an increase in the number of students who perform well in school as a result of this, because we understand what chess does. Chess actually does expand the way kids problem solve. It gives them an opportunity to actually look at the number of things that they have to consider as part of that process. So we're hoping that there's a carryover effect in this, and we know from my experience in other endeavors that the research on kids playing chess is very clear. It does have an impact. So I was pleased to see this moving along and also seeing it being championed by Mary Beth. Now it's Dr. Murray, right? It's no longer Mary Beth. Dr. Murray, thank you very much for that. Moving on, Megan mentioned the Jordan Math Collaborative graduation. Again, it just really warms your heart to see those kids up on stage and what has transpired for those kids to be there. The amount of energy and time that it takes to just move those kids along that line of their journey, and it's always a very special journey. Cam's graduation went well. No beach balloons being thrown, that kind of thing, great. And Washington Middle School, their state of the school, when they began the musical performance there, you thought, what the hell was going on with all of that, the dancing and so forth? But that's exactly what is happening, the culture that has changed in that school, and that culture is really what's driving the change in student outcomes. So it was wonderful to be there. I think there were a number of schools that were represented there that day. A number of our staff were there to actually be part of that. But it was a memorable day to see what actually is driving the work at that school. And I think OMS recorded that. So in terms of best practices, that is really valuable information to see what is transpiring at that school. Judy Seal, is Judy still here?
Oh, she is.
Another excellent, most inspiring students awards program. Thank you, ma'am, for actually putting on another special program for our kids. Classified Employee Awards program, always good to see our folks honoring our classified staff for the tremendous work they do day in and day out as part of the overall success of our students in our school district. And last, I wanted to just recognize a teacher who passed recently, spent all of her time at Bret Hart School, Velma McBride, who passed away a couple of weeks ago. My report.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Meyer.
Well, thank you, Felton. You highlighted many of the events we all attended. It's been very busy. I had the opportunity to revisit every one of the schools in my district over the course of the last 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, our principals and our staff, they're rock stars. The work they do is just tremendous. It makes me very proud. And I followed it up with a personal note to each one of them, letting them know how much we think of them. So thank you once again, all the principals and teachers and staff.
Oh, thank you. Dr. Benitez.
Yeah, lots been covered, so just want to congratulate again everyone that got promoted today. Looking forward to working with you all. A couple of requests, Superintendent. Could we get an update on some of the resources, service support that's available with the Poly regarding some of the violence that that neighborhood has experienced there? I think it would be great given some of the comments we heard earlier today. Also, if we could get an update on the CAMS graduation from last week. And then my report. So just a couple highlights. We had our 4th annual Long Beach Promise Male Summit a couple of weeks ago, and one of our own was honored, our community champion, Lionel Gonzalez. So big shout out to our Male Leadership Academy and all the work that went into bringing around 400 students together at LBCC. I was privileged to give a workshop there and just sharing the experience. Empowering Day at LBCC. I also want to congratulate Franklin Classical Middle School and Principal Sawinski. UCLA opened up a brand new fitness center there, Sound Mind, Sound Body Fitness Center. So parents, students, staff are super excited. Thank you for everyone that put together that grant proposal and got that going. And then most recently, I gave a workshop at Taub. My mind's running on fumes here. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, but it was a really good conversation with about 20 to 30 teachers in our district around strategies for empowering our Latinx students. And one of the things that came out of that meeting is Taub is interested in convening a parent-teacher summit to go over ways in which our teachers can identify stronger strategies for community connectedness and work together with parents on supporting our Latinx students. So I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation. Great job, board member Elaine, today on your report. And that's it from my end.
Okay, can you clarify Latinx?
It's an all-inclusive term rather than using
Latino
a gender-specific
or
Latino or Latina.
Oh, okay. Just starting to hear it, so thank you for that.
Academic right now, but the intent is to be inclusive of all of our communities in the Latinx community.
Yeah. Okay, very good. I'm going to do a real Reader's Digest version of a report because we're all running on fumes over here. So, Most Inspiring Student Award. Thank you so much, Judy. You put your heart into everything, and it really shows the way the whole evening comes off. We honored Police Chief Robert Luna with the Service Before Self Award, and very well-deserved award. He cares so much about our students, so it was nice to recognize him. Pride Parade, very proud to represent the district in that. At Cabrillo, I had an opportunity to help on a panel for the Ambassador Portfolio Defense, so had an opportunity to meet some really wonderful Cabrillo students. And also Quest Senior Project Review, same kind of deal, sat on a panel and listened to those. I wish we had time to list all those fabulous projects, but bottom line, the kids are just so amazing and they're doing great things. Washington Middle School, I came away with a couple of things. One quote was about how Washington is outpacing other middle schools, even the ones east towards Martha's Vineyard. Kind of took offense to that because I represent those schools that are on the east side towards Martha's Vineyard. Anyhow, it was a lot of fun. And a quote that I think we should all kind of adopt and use is, not possible, it's necessary. And then a dual immersion event at Patrick Henry. Not only did we have Assembly Member Patrick O'Donnell, but we also had the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Mr. Tony Thurman, at the event at Patrick Henry. Really incredible, and that was a wonderful celebration. And then, of course, our very first graduating class of Sato, we had the Japanese, taiko drummers. It was really impressive. And a keynote speaker, Dr. Christina Lee, And she told us about her experience in Cambodia as a 7-year-old girl, being in the jungle, hungry, having to resort to eating bugs and plants because she had nothing else to eat. Anyhow, it was very inspiring and awesome, and at times she turned to the kids and spoke directly to them. I think you could have heard a pin drop when she was talking. Anyhow, let's see, superintendent's no report, okay, announcements? Thank you, everybody, it's been a marathon, but you stood with us.